Hi folks, I apologize for the silly video on Sunday, but I was truly shocked. I'm actually still reeling, and yesterday I was just unable to make any kind of video. It only feels like yesterday that the Queen signed the note attached to the flowers on Prince Philip's coffin with her nickname Lilibet. Lilibet is what the Queen called herself when, as a small child, she could not say Elizabeth, and it stuck. It was what her father called her when he said of his daughters, Lilibet is my pride and Margaret my joy. It is the name her sister Margaret called her, and it is the name Prince Philip affectionately called her. It was a sign of affection for those closest to the Queen and those who were part of her youth, not even her own children, not even the next king, Prince Charles, called his mother Lilibet. And when Prince Philip passed away, the name Lilibet went to the grave with him. Prince Philip also called the Queen Cabbage in private moments, and her grandchildren and great-grandchildren called her Gan. The name Lilibet was thus unique to the Queen and reserved for those closest to her, family members who knew her from her youth. I would guess that the Queen had a certain emotional attachment to the name. But remember, when Meghan Markle said that the Queen did not hold the exclusive right to the word royal, well, I guess Meghan is still upset about not being able to use Sussex Royal, and now she showed the Queen, didn't she? Because now she took the name exclusive to the Queen and used it anyway. I am as disgusted today as I was yesterday and as I was on Sunday. I find it intrusive and so spiteful. I'm also disgusted that a human being would use their baby to spite another adult. But there is more to it than just spite, isn't there? Are Harry and Meghan under the impression that they will recover or regain the royal family's love and affection by naming this child after the Queen? Are they so deaf, dumb, and blind that they do not see that their unpopularity has nothing to do with the royal family, but has everything to do with their own actions? Do they think that the child's name will ensure that they still have a stake in the royal family? Don't they get that the world does not care about their position in the family, but that we care about their position in the monarchy as an institution? Of course, everyone is flabbergasted by the fact that only weeks ago they were still trashing the institution. Meghan saying that they held her captive by withholding her passport, accusing them of racism, accusing them of withholding mental health treatment from her, and so on and so on. Yet, she still names the child after the head of the family and institution. Some families do prefer to give their children family names, but usually the first son would get the paternal grandfather's name or names, something Harry and Meghan did not do with their son Archie Harrison. Then, in such families, it would be customary to name the first daughter after one or both of the grandmothers, and only with subsequent children will a family start using great-grandmothers or great-grandfathers' names, etc. But Harry and Meghan opted to name their first daughter after his grandmother and mother. In other words, the child's grandmother and great-grandmother, completely ignoring the fact that the child has another grandmother namely Doria Lois Ragland. Why? Is it because Doria is darkest? Is it because she's not rich or a celebrity? Or is it because she is not royalty and thus has no PR value for Harry and Meghan? I would guess that the choices Harry and Meghan made for this child's name does not say much for their women's rights and black activism, does it? I, however, think that everything that could be said about this baby's name has by now been said. But how I wish Prince Philip, the Queen's parents, and her sister would have called her something else. Would Meghan have named her daughter Poopsie if that was what the Queen's nickname was? I wouldn't put it past her. One thing is for sure, Meghan is now definitely the queen of plagiarism. I mean, honestly, plagiarizing the Queen's nickname must be the ultimate in plagiarism. But let us move on from the name. I'm sure most of you are wondering, so what's happened to the baby being born of a surrogate? Well, I still do not believe that Meghan birthed the child herself. An American friend phoned the hospital pretending to be from the press, and when she asked whether there was a baby born to a VIP couple, and then she went on to actually name them Prince Harry and Meghan on Friday, the answer was her, and we recorded the call. Anyway, the answer was her with a question mark before the line went dead. She phoned again, and this time she was put through to the media liaison person, who obviously was not in on a Sunday. But we'll keep trying to get to the truth. Another subscriber will do a growth chart for a child born at 7 pounds 11 ounces, so that when we get to see the first images, we shall be able to have a better idea of how big a child should be at whatever age we first get to see this one. And talking about that, and this is just my personal opinion or my personal feelings, I'm sure what they are doing is they're holding out for that $1 million offer to come in for the first photographs of baby Lilibet Diana. Well, as I sit here, I have no interest in seeing that child. I don't give a hoot. I don't care whether we see her for the first time when she's 16. But of course, if and when there are photographs available, of course I'll go and have a look. And of course I'll have a look and see whether I think she's 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, or 5 years old, or whatever the case may be, just like anyone else. But truly, I'm not holding my breath. I don't feel any excitement about seeing the baby. I definitely will not spend one single dollar on a magazine just because there's a photograph of this baby in the magazine. And I think there are many people like me who feel exactly the same. So it is my opinion that if they are actually waiting for that $1 million offer for the first photograph, they may be waiting a very long time, because I cannot see any magazine offering them that kind of money if they know they're not going to make extra money out of it. So there you go. Let's see how long we have to wait. Well, we're not waiting, are we? We'll see her when we do, and if we don't, that's just fine. Anyway, something else I am rather suspicious of, though, is that they have said through the press secretary, I mean, honestly, their press secretary, who do they think they are? The President of the United States, but never mind. They said that we won't see a photograph anytime soon. They are now taking family time. Well, good for them. Take as much time as you need, but just shut up in the meantime as well. Don't talk while you're having your family time. Just keep quiet. When a baby is born, it is a happy and joyous time. But I hesitate to celebrate a child born to a parent using said child to hang on to titles and to troll a 95-year-old lady, and to another parent who admitted to alcohol and drug abuse and mental illness. A parent who, although he admitted to all these things, also omitted to ensure us that he is no longer abusing drugs and alcohol and that he has been cured from his mental illness. So I, for one, cannot be happy about a child coming into this family, regardless of whether she was born from the body of Meghan Markle or from the body of a surrogate. I think that a family like this should sort out their issues before thinking of another child. How can one also celebrate the birth of a little girl when her parents registered a domain in her name on the very day she was born? You know, normal people will celebrate in other ways. The father will be in and out of the hospital room, he'll be phoning family, there'll be flowers arriving, cards of congratulations. Mommy will be worried about breastfeeding and all kinds of other things. But what did Harry and Meghan do? They went and registered a domain name called lilibetdiana.com. So, what does this child mean to them? Is it a baby they really care about? Or are they more concerned about the business transaction and how much they can make out of this little baby? So, although I love babies as much as anyone else, and I'm always hoping and praying that they will have a good life in the future, and I hope and pray that for this little baby too, no matter where she came from. But how can one celebrate that? How can we be happy about that, knowing how dysfunctional her parents are? Anyway, this is getting my blood pressure up, so I would actually like to just change the subject a little and go on to something else. And I want to put on the brakes for a minute and analyze the current situation a little. Here we are, angry and upset because Meghan and Harry used our Queen's emotional and personal nickname. We are up in arms, protective over this woman who had been queen of a country for nearly 70 years. But where is this queen? The queen over all her people, regardless of color, religion, or politics. She's quiet, so quiet that for all we know, she's quite happy with the fact that her nickname had been hijacked. Maybe she had a lovely breakfast or dinner, a nightcap, and have already discussed tomorrow's outfit with her dresser. All the while, we are all upset, arguing, and ready to go to war for her. So at this point, I wonder whether it is really worth our time and effort to try and protect this woman and her family against this invasion and hijacking and disparaging of everything that she and we believe in. And as we are here contemplating a name given to an innocent child, when worse transgressions have already taken place, to date we have not heard a single word about the bullying allegations against Meghan, and we likely never will, because it will once again be hidden and people will be paid off and it all swept under the rug. To date, we have not had any response from the Church of England about Archie's baptism certificate or when and where the so-called christening took place. And you may not like Justin Welby for whatever reason, but I actually have sympathy for him because he may be the most senior clergy in his church, but the Queen is the head of the church. In other words, his boss. And without her permission, he cannot tell the truth. Yet we expect from him, as a member of the clergy, to tell the truth. So can you imagine what a difficult position this man finds himself in? A few months ago, there had been issues with Prince Charles and his leaseholders on the Isle of Scilly. And now, silence, no reaction, because it appears that these very people fear the repercussions. And then there is Prince Andrew. It is my personal opinion that he is nothing more than a rich, spoiled man who thought he was being cool and mingling with cool people. And I do not necessarily think that he committed nefarious acts. I may be right, I may be wrong, but that's not the point. The point is that he should have stepped up by now and shared the information he have with the FBI. But instead, he's hiding behind his mother's role in society, and he's being protected by an institution headed by his mother, the Queen. And as I said, the right thing to do would have been for him to go and share whatever knowledge he had or has of the situation. How much is that to ask? To ask someone to just do the right thing. How can we trust a group of people who continue to remain silent whenever the going gets tough? To continue sweeping stuff under the carpet and hiding it from us, whether it's the birth of a child or whether it is putting up the rent on the Isle of Scilly or whether it's pulling allegations, whatever it may be. But having said that, I am pro-monarchy, as I believe the monarchy is a way to protect our culture and our history. I'm afraid that take away the monarchy as an institution, and a large part of British culture will be lost, and maybe in time the British will feel like strangers in their own country. So don't get me wrong, I am pro-monarchy. And regardless of what I've just said, I do respect the Queen for having served her country for nearly 70 years. But I cannot support unfairness. I cannot support lies and hidden truths and lying by omission. And I cannot support an institution which is making fools out of the very people it should serve and protect. The time has come that those members of the constitutional monarchy, and please note it is a constitutional monarchy and not an absolute monarchy. But the time has come for the constitutional monarchy to be held accountable for their actions, and those who do not play by the rules, like Harry and Meghan, should be cut off or brought to justice. Meghan and Harry had lied and lied, not just to us, but to their family and to the institution. They have committed acts during their time as working royals and after, which could be considered treason. Yet there they are, still on the royal family's website, smiling broadly, and under their smiling mugs, still the same lies that were there before. What is the use of moving their profiles below that of Edward and Sophie? Why would the newspapers even bother to try and convince us that it is akin to a demotion, when in reality nothing has changed? They should not even be on the royal website at all. They are not working members of the royal family. If they remain on the website, why doesn't the royal family put on a profile on Eugenie and Beatrice and Zara and Peter and all the other members of the royal family? No, they're not up there because they're not working members of the royal family. And neither is Harry and Meghan. Don't they get it? Do they really think we are all that stupid? Well, what is left to say after this rant? Very little. Very little, except to say, and I'm saying this for all to hear, including Her Majesty the Queen. God save the Queen, and please, Your Majesty, now please do the right thing and be fair and save your people from the members of your family who are creating all this chaos. Stop enabling Meghan and Harry. For as long as you do this, we shall fight against it. And eventually it will become too much. And the public will hold you responsible. And this is not how I wish for your illustrious reign to end. So I'm begging of you, Your Majesty, do the right thing. Okay, my dear friends, this has been a long one and a rant, but this is how I feel at the moment, and this is all from the heart. And I don't think I have much more to say. So please take good care of yourselves until I see you on the next video. Bye.